All right, let's talk about Taylor Swift. But I'm not talking about the Taylor Swift you think you know. Forget the girl with the guitar for a second. Forget the icon on stage. We're here to talk about the CEO, the Grandmaster, the architect of a billion-dollar empire that was built on one single brilliant product, her own life. See, for 2 decades, she's been writing her story. But the real story, it's how she built a world that had no choice but to listen. So, who is she, really? Is she the artisan, the one who just rips pages from her diary and turns them into songs we all scream in our cars? Or is she the architect, a totally calculated strategist who turned that same diary into a billion-dollar weapon? Well, here's the secret, the thing that makes it all work. What if she's both? And what if that's the entire point? Okay, so to really get the empire, you have to go all the way back to the very beginning, to the blueprint. And that blueprint, it wasn't an album, it wasn't a song. No, it was a person, a perfectly, almost surgically crafted image designed for, let's be honest, total world domination. Her first move on the chessboard was just genius. Become America's sweetheart. And every single piece was placed perfectly. The curls, the sundresses, those lyrics that felt like she somehow stole them from your own high school diary. This was never just about music. It was a perfectly engineered empathy machine, built to make millions of people feel like she wasn't a superstar, she was their best friend. And, while we were all seeing the innocent sweetheart, the spreadsheet in the background was telling a totally different story. That whole persona, it wasn't just an identity. It was a product, a ruthlessly effective one designed to build a massive crossover army and get everything in place for a complete pop music takeover. And then this happened, the moment that just lit the fuse on everything. See, when Kanye West grabbed that mic, he didn't just create an awkward TV moment. He accidentally handed her the most powerful weapon in modern fame, the role of the victim. He made her the hero of the story, and in doing so, he gave her an almost infinite supply of what we're going to call narrative capital, an asset she would learn to cash in again and again for years. So let's fast forward to 2016. Taylor is literally on top of the world. She seems completely untouchable. But the thing about that narrative capital, it can be taken away. And the entire story she had so carefully built was about to get burned to the ground, live, for the whole world to watch. The whole thing was just a blur, right? February, Kanye drops Famous. Taylor's team is like, nope, never approved it. June, Kim Kardashian enters the chat, basically calling Taylor a liar. And then, July 17th, the receipts. Kim drops that secretly recorded phone call on Snapchat. It was checkmate. The internet just detonated. And the backlash, oh my God, it wasn't just bad, it was biblical. I mean, hashtag TaylorSwiftIsOverParty wasn't just a hashtag, it was the #1 global event. Her comments were just a sea of green snake emojis. It was like a digital scarlet letter. The one thing her entire brand was built on, authenticity, was officially declared a total fraud. She later called it a career death. And so, facing total public annihilation, she did the only thing a master strategist could do. She logged off, wiped her social media completely clean. She just vanished. And for an entire year, she said absolutely nothing, creating this deafening, totally strategic silence, a complete narrative vacuum. And then she came back, but she wasn't waving a white flag. No, she came back with fangs. In this incredible act of what you can only call narrative jujitsu, she took the weapon they used against her, the snake, and she forged it into a crown. The insult became her armor. The poison, that became her power. And that was the masterstroke. Look, she didn't just embrace the villain role. She publicly killed the hero to make room for it. It was radical. It was honestly a little terrifying, but it gave her something she had never really had before. The freedom to be messy, to be angry, and to finally own every single part of her story, good and bad. This comeback, it did more than just save her career. It unlocked a whole new level of the game. This is the moment where the artisan and the architect stop being two different people. They fuse into one single, unstoppable, exponential force. And this, right here, is where the empire truly begins. So the next chapter kicks off with a betrayal. In 2019, the master recordings of her entire life's work are sold out from under her to her sworn enemy.
They think they've got her trapped. They block her from buying back her own past. So what does she do? She pulls off the biggest heist in music history. She decides she's just going to steal it all back by re-recording every single song.
Now, this move was more than just business. It was pure art. She took a really boring, complicated legal dispute and turned it into a simple morality play. It's good versus evil, the artist versus the machine. And by doing that, she basically weaponized her entire global fan base, making listening to Taylor's version not just a preference, but a moral duty. And where did all that loyalty lead? It led here, to the Arrayas Tour. And let's be clear, this isn't just a concert. It's an economic earthquake. We're talking over $2 billion. This isn't a tour, it's a victory lap so massive that it literally boosts the GDP of the countries it visits. And yeah, of course, this made her a billionaire. But here's the kicker, the part that really matters. Unlike so many other stars, she didn't do it with makeup brands or fashion lines. She is the first musician to ever hit 10 figures based almost entirely on the music itself. The songs, the shows. For her, the art is the enterprise. So this is it. This is the final equation. Let's call it the Swiftian multiplier. Her success isn't just art plus business. No. It's art times business. Her genius as a songwriter is exponentially amplified by her genius as a strategist. The art creates the magic, and the strategy builds a world that has no other choice but to believe in it. So she reclaimed her past. She completely conquered her industry. What could possibly be next? Well, it looks like film. She's moving from being the main character in the story to being the one holding the camera. So the question we started with, is she the artisan or the architect? That's not the question anymore. We know the answer. The real question is, what world is she going to build next?